Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is James, and today's video is going to be all about my cameras, what I own, why I own them, and if I still enjoy using them. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, so let's go. Now, my main need for camera is video, so that takes precedent in terms of my deciding what camera ecosystem I'm going to invest into. But I do enjoy taking stills, and photography is a passion, and I really enjoy it, and I really like to go out with a camera for stills. And I wanted to get a Panasonic camera that was for stills, so I got the Lumix G9. This is my stills camera. I enjoy doing landscape photography with this. It's got a really good high-res mode. I enjoy doing, travel with this camera too, or any out and about kind of walking around, as well as its many cool features that this has for photography. It's incredibly comfortable to hold, and it's really, since I had this camera, I really noticed like the importance of a very good camera, a very good comfortable camera, and it's a pleasure to walk around with. That grip is so deep, and just I got decent sized hands, I guess. Decent sized hands, what's up? But yeah, so even for me, like, I mean, there's an L bracket on you too, so there's a bit more room there for the pinky, but I can hold that quite comfortably, which is great if you're walking around all day. You want to have a camera which is very comfortable to hold. Top LCD screen for, seeing your settings quick off the bat. It also lights up as well, so if you're in low light kind of conditions. This has fabulous IBIS, coupled with the 100 to 600 handheld 100 to 600 200 to 600 sorry, equivalent focal length on the 100 to 300 lens. Handheld, no problem at all with this. You go down quite low on the shutter speed, so although Lumix doesn't have a high ISO performance, what it lacks there, it does make up for in fantastic IBIS. Another great thing about this lens is the fact that it shoots 4K at 10-bit 422, which is very, very good. Again, professional camera. It's a brilliant hybrid camera, so if you need a bit of video, some tasty video, as well as a good stills photography camera, this is definitely one to be considered. And the quality of the images and the video is just really, really good. Really good stuff. It's kind of a Gh5 photocentric, and I love the Gh5, which I did sell, unfortunately, but I'll get onto that in a bit. But yeah, I used to have the Gh5, and it definitely reminds you of that kind of camera. Very robust, chunky, dependable, great quality, and you get a lot for your money there. So yeah, Lumix G9, brilliant camera. Let's carry on with the stills theme. So yeah, like I said just then, I really enjoy taking stills. I wanted a camera where I could go out, I don't have to pack hardly anything, and if I wasn't to get out the camera at all because it didn't seem the appropriate thing to do, because the girlfriend is not quite happy, she wants to enjoy the day with you rather than watch you roll around like fucking some urban street photographer. So I wanted a camera that could just go in a little bag. If I used it, I did. If I didn't, then so what? It doesn't matter. It didn't take long to pack. So I chose to go for this little gem. I picked this up for £24 off MPB. Described as well used, but MPB do kind of overstate their conditions of their cameras. So if they say well used, it usually is kind of well used, but not destroyed like you'd see on like eBay, for example. Now there's a few scratches on the back. I haven't got any close-ups of this mine, so you can't see. It's just tough shit. But there are some little nags on it, but it's fully working. It's, you know, there's nothing wrong with this camera. So yeah, the Lumix Gf3. This is very much a travel camera for those hobbyists. You know, those who want to step up from an iPhone, for example. It is an ICL, so you can change the lenses on this, which is great. I could slap the 100 to 300 on this, and it would look mental, but it would do a great job. This lens, this camera, even, it's very limited, but then that makes sense because it's, you know, meant for beginners, I guess. It has a handy intelligent auto button there, which if you press lights blue, and then you're in full auto mode, so you can literally just go out and take pictures, don't have to worry about the lighting conditions. It'll do it all for you, and it does a decent job as well. For me, it was a bit finicky or a bit annoying because there's not many customizable options there to get around to quick features and settings. So if you are wanting to dabble with manual modes, it can get a bit finicky because you have to go into the menu for some things, and yeah, it's not quite as straightforward because you're lacking those customizable button options. There's no EVF on here either. It's just the back screen there, which it's a nightmare to see through or to see when it's quite bright. So a lot of cupping of the hand, that kind of stuff. And also if you're getting down low, it's not very easy because there's no tilting screen. So it's a bit awkward to shoot with. But if you're willing to kind of live with those setbacks, the images from this camera are really top notch. I'm not trying to over egg this at all. You know, I legitimately mean this produces lovely, lovely stills. It's only a 12 megapixel camera, but that's still plenty for online printing to a certain size. You know, you can do any billboards with it, obviously, but really, really good, decent focusing capabilities. You know, I'm not struggling to get focus, particularly in well-lit scenes, but so it performs very well in that department. Does have full HD. I've not really dabbled with full HD on this. If that's something you want to see, then just hit me up in the comments and let me know. But I didn't really buy it for video. But it does have full HD. So you've got full HD and a very good stills photography camera. So, and look how small that is. That is ridiculously small. You put on a 14 to 42, or even better, a pancake lens, and that's a real pocket camera. So yeah, Lumix Gf3. I do recommend picking one of these up if you're about to jump into cameras and photography, because this is a really, really good camera. Cool. You don't even have to, if you know your cameras, this is very unique in its design, and it's an obvious pocket 4K Blackmagic Cinema pocket 4K camera. This is my narrative filmmaking camera. I bought this a year and a half ago, I think it was, and I just proper hyped up, you know, very affordable cinema camera. If you go over to Mad Science Films, we discussed this camera and its capabilities and what have you, and it really delivers on its quality. It's such a filmic quality, and it's had a new upgrade to its color science with the Gen 5, and so this is not a dead in the water camera by any means, even though Blackmagic are producing like 12K IRSs and stuff like that. You know, resolution, everybody wanks over resolution or whatever, but 4K, it's still very much you know, in demand, I guess. Nobody's really demanding 6 and 8K, to be honest. And a lot of the times 6K, if people are shooting 6K, it's usually used as a tool rather than the desired final output resolution. So to me, that's not a priority reason to get a 6K camera. Handy if you could have access to it, but not the end of the world. It's so easy to use, this camera, so intuitive, very straightforward to use. Again, produces cinema-like footage. Obviously, you know, what is cinema, what is cinematic? I mean, there's a lot that goes into that in terms of lighting and movement of camera, understanding the story, production design, blah, 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 blah. But if you can have a very good color science that looks filmic as a starting point, then as long as you know your shit, then, you know, you're on a win-win. This will help you get very, very good film look. It's not built the best. It's hard plastic. I think it's a high quality plastic, but it does feel a bit plasticky. But again, mine's always kept in a cage. Anyway, you got handlebars and shit like top handles, fucking handlebars. Yeah, so it's always in a cage. So, you know, if it does get knocked, then you got a bit of protection there. But yeah, it's not premium quality made. And again, that's all down to keeping the cost down. Now, I've got the Metabones speed booster on this. This is the Cine lock version of the Metabones speed booster, and this is a Metabones speed booster specifically for the Pocket 4K. This won't go on any of my Lumix cameras, even though it's a Micro Four Thirds mount. It's just the way the element is at the back of the adapter. It's quite points out quite a bit. So if I was to put this on a Lumix G9, it'll probably smash the sensor. This is a 0.64 times magnification, so that crop factor is usually ×2 just on your lenses. So if you put a 50mm on a Micro Four Thirds sensor, which this is, then you would get 100 mil. Now this reduces that all the way down to like a 1.2, so it's almost full frame. So I'm probably getting about a 60mm when I put a 50mm on here, which is loads better. Plus it's making it a lot brighter. So if it's 2.8, you're gonna get, well, if it's an f4, I think you get about 2.3, which is really good. That doesn't imply that the bokeh is better. It just makes it a brighter image. But anyway, so there's reasons or an argument for getting a Pocket 4K with a speed booster rather than going for a Pocket 6K or a Pocket 6K Pro, because you're stuck down with an APS-C EF mount, and that means you're pretty limited with adapting lenses, and you're stuck at a 1.6, 1.7 crop because you can't add focal reducers on there. Pocket 6K. Tell a lie, I think there is a focal reducer you can get for the APS-C, if I remember rightly. Yes, but it's a finicky one. I think you're going to get right into the mount and mess around with it, if I remember rightly, yeah. So it can be done with the APS-C, but yeah, Pocket 4K with the speed booster, stunning quality, really happy with this. I've got no plans to change this anytime soon. Not so cinema camera, but a very good video camera is the Lumix Gh2. This is a very special camera. It only shoots HD, but with the hacks available, it shoots incredible HD footage with really impressive high bit rates. Very, very detailed. I think this sensor produces such a lovely, rich, contrasty image when it comes to the video in particular, and I think that helps with that kind of pleasing filmic look you can get from this camera. And again, a lot of it is also down to your ability to, you know, light and you know, shoot a story and tell a story with images and use the camera and move the camera and what have you. So it's not all about the camera. You know, you need to put some effort in to create that image. But like the Pocket 4K, is a great starting point to have such a lovely looking image straight out of camera. So, and again, we often forget that this is a stills camera, and with a 16 megapixel sensor you can get some very good images. So could definitely operate as a really good hybrid camera. Lumix Gh2, cheap, good quality video, full HD, and again, it's not 4K, but if you're happy with full HD, you'd be more than happy with this. Cool. A lot of these have a purpose, my cameras. I mean, we all justify our purchases, don't we? You know, it's not just me with gas gear acquisition syndrome. But this camera, I at least have a reason for having, if that makes any fucking sense. This camera I bought because, yeah, this is a Lumix G70 or a Lumix G7 if you're from America. It's a Lumix camera. It does pretty much what everything else does, but it's kind of like a Gh2, but just a bit more fresh, a bit better. Has the 4K, has 60 frames per second at 1080, so good at slow motion. And it has the Cine D profile, which is great. That's something the Gh2 doesn't have. So it's not really flat, but it can give you a bit of room to kind of do a slight bit of grading. It has, annoyingly though, the battery compartments where the SD card goes. I really hate that design. It's so fucking annoying, but whatever. It's not built to last. It's not weather sealed. It feels a bit plasticky. It doesn't have any IBIS in there either, and it doesn't have a headphone jack. But I have used this for work. I shot a web series for work using green screen and stuff like that, and it performed quite well. And what I love about this camera, I guess, is it produces lovely 4K, and the media is not too hot to handle. So in work, the PCs, they're not that good, but the footage was great, 4K, and it handled it quite well. So the codecs and the file sizes are not too tasty to kind of run through a mediocre machine. Again, you could do a lot with this camera. It does, it obviously does stills as well as video, so it's a really good hybrid camera. And if you're into kind of, again, travel, seems to be the theme here. Maybe I want to go traveling. I'm just desperate to go, but never mind. These cameras are very good for travel because they're so small and the lenses are so small, but you get a lot of good image quality for your buck if you buy one of these Lumix cameras. Again, it's not full frame. It's not got high ISO capabilities, but it's such a good all-rounder otherwise. So very good camera, Lumix G70. Cool. The last and final camera to show you. This is the Lumix S5. This replaced my Lumix Gh5 a few months back. The reason being is because although the Lumix Gh5 is a fantastic video camera, proper pro video camera, amazing quality, you got the full 400 megabits all intra codec, really tasty stuff, and in some areas is a lot better than this S5, but I have no issues with Micro Four Thirds. And I'll also contradict myself. I have no real issues with Micro Four Thirds, but I did fancy going full frame, just in case it's needed. Like it's very low light and I'm struggling to light it for whatever reason. Not enough lights, no power sources. Maybe it's a running gun situation. There's many reasons why you perhaps would need a camera which could shoot low light. Now the Pocket 4K is a dual native ISO, I think at 1250 it kind of kicks in and has clean images up until 3200, I think. Not perfectly crisp, but a lot better than what your normal Micro Four Thirds sensor would do. And it's similar with the S5, but it's full frame, and it's native at 640 with the Vlog and 4000, I believe, which is really, really high. Full frame, lovely images from this. It's the same sensor as the Lumix other S series cameras, including the S1H, which is a Netflix approved camera, which I'm sure means a lot for all us videographers out there. So produces lovely images, comes with a full Vlog, none of that Vlog L crap. And yeah, it's 4K 60, 10-bit, 420, it's 4K 60, sorry, 4K then up to 30, 422 10-bit as well. They do have recording limits, but if you're willing to go to 8-bit 4K, then there's no recording limits, and I'm fine with that, because if I'm doing anything longer than half an hour, like any long haul kind of stuff, then I'm not really going to want it to extensively grade that footage, so 8-bit should be fine. Dual card slot, it's got weather resistant body, feels quite premium. It's not that big for a full frame camera, gotta be honest. I think the Gh5 might be a bit bigger, and the G9 is yeah, not far off at all. So really good sized camera. It does have the micro HDMI, which is a pain in the ass, but I was recommended on the Lumix S Facebook group to purchase one of these small rigs, micro HDMI to full HDMI adapter, which does help not snap that. So not perfect by any means, but it's full frame, it's got really good high ISO performance, and it produces a lovely image. And it's, yeah, really good solid video production camera. Now, brilliant for video, and I bought it for video, but I did have taken stills with this, and I gotta say that was lovely. Nice to have a full frame camera for stills, so it can produce lovely stills as well. There's many people out there use this for the stills cameras as well as a video camera. I know you got the S1 and S1R, which are more photography, kind of like a huge G9 or G9 on steroids, but yeah, there's no reason why you can't use this for stills. So yeah, that's it. That's me done. That's me talking from the cameras. What I'm shooting on is actually a Gh4. This is my old Gh4 camera. This is a great camera too. I do miss the Lumix Gh4. We shot Little Monster for Mad Science Films with the Lumix Gh4. I'll put the little link up there. I think it's quite affordable now. I think it's about maybe £400 for it, and it's a very good quality 4K camera, and produces lovely stills as well. So if you're thinking about, again, one up from the Lumix G7 or G85, you know, get a bit more pro, not quite the Gh5, but brilliant camera. That's it. I think I'm all done. Talk about cameras. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was a lot of, I hope you enjoyed geeking out with me about cameras. I love cameras, I love talking about gear, but yeah, let me know what you're rocking. Let me know what ecosystem you're in, whether you're Sony or Canon, and you know, there's multiple of choices out there for us as videographers and photographers, and I guess it's just whatever floats your boat, whatever, you know, meets your needs. So yeah, let me know what you're rocking. Let me know what you think of my cameras. Have I got too many cameras? Should I add more? Should I sell some? Would you switch out any of my cameras and replace them with other cameras? Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Please remember to like this video. Apparently that does help. Maybe I can give it work one day. Yeah, like and subscribe, and yeah, cheers. Bye.